Plant plants while you work. The game being on the bottom third of the screen, it's really unique and interesting. And personally, I can't wait to play it because it allows you to have your browser open so you can, do your schoolwork, write emails, documents, watch YouTube, surf the web, whatever you do, and then just have Plantasia on the bottom so you can plant, listen to lo-fi music, follow the narrative, kind of, pay attention to it when you want to. So you can be really active in it, or you can kind of leave it there and do other things if you want the background music. So I think it's really cool and innovative, in my opinion, to have a game at the lower third of your screen. So if you're on a work call that you don't really need to pay attention to, you can have Plantasia in the bottom and just do your thing. Because I have been on many calls that did not need my personal full attention span. So I was able to plant plants while that meeting was going. And then when it's time to actually work, if you want to have like some ambiance going, you can kind of have Plantasia running. So yeah. Yeah, so for me, I am the most excited for everyone to experience the UI. It's been the biggest challenge to design UI for the lower third of your screen. Normally when you play like a PC game, a console game, or a mobile game, you have the entire device to kind of look at everything, click what you need to click, tap what you need to tap, etc. So dealing with the lower third of the screen has been a very, very unique challenge because I'm like, okay, how do I make sure you can see this, it works, you can play with it? Like, it was just difficult figuring out sizing and making sure that everything was legible. But I'm really proud of kind of the work that we all did as a team and making sure that it looks good, it functions, it's legible, it's accessible, just a lot of those little UX things I keep in mind to the best of my abilities. So hopefully everyone likes it. And I think kind of the aesthetic that we went with, like the cozy solar punk vibe, just making sure that that's captured. So I think I'm excited for people to check out the UI and let me know like what works, what doesn't work, and hopefully more of what works, and kind of take it from there. I've just been working on the UI and the UX of the game, trying to keep the player first and foremost at the front of mind, trying to keep accessibility front of mind as best we can, and just making sure we make something fun, engaging, practical, boost productivity, but most importantly fun for players. So I hope you all like it. For me, I want to highlight the team dynamics. I have never worked with such a group of young, passionate, and excited people ever. And it's been great to kind of know that if I have a question, I can just message someone. We will hop on a chat in Discord and we will just talk about it. And then we'll veer off into like other topics like movies we like or shows or just like life in general. So we've bonded and built actual friendships while developing this game, which has been really cool. And it also influenced a lot of my UI. Like I remember having a conversation with Tanner, our lead game designer, and I could not remember what he said, but he mentioned something and I was like, wait, oh my God, I have an idea. And then we jumped into Figma and we concepted out a piece of UI based off of a completely separate conversation. So I really like our team dynamic because just little things like that can kind of spark just random bouts of influence and or inspiration, and then we'll just like jump straight to the work and say like, oh my God, what if we did this? What if we did that? And oh my God, yeah, that's cool. Let's do this to that. And then we end up creating something that we really like, and hopefully you guys will like it too. So yeah, team dynamics and the mood board that we are for each other. I've always played games since I was a kid, Crash Bandicoot, Spiral, the usual. And when I got into UX a couple years ago, a coworker of mine told me, oh, there's game UX. Now, because I was new to UX, I had no idea that there was game UX. So I was like, okay, stop everything. Like, this is what I need to do right now. So that kind of got me down the path of game UX and doing everything I can to kind of ship titles and prove myself. Cave Bear definitely helps me prepare my skills for gaming because it's good to work with people in different departments. So with UX and UI, we can go off the walls and we can say, oh, like we want this and we want that. It'll be really cool if this like can spin around upside down. But it's nice when programming can keep me honest and say like what's technically feasible and then just kind of iterating based on that. So if they say like we are only in scope to do this, okay, great, we'll scale things back and make sure it fits. So I learned a lot, and I can ask other departments like how their job works and how our departments can collaborate better. Like there's a lot that I learned from game design, narrative, art, just everyone in general, and seeing how we can all work together to achieve the same goals. So we're constantly teaching and educating each other, which is great because then it allows me to kind of use Cave Bear as my experimental sandbox to fail and mess up and learn from it. So that way in a different environment, I've already learned those lessons and don't have to repeat the same mistakes. Cave Bear Games' mission aligns with my goals in communicating, learning, and just being passionate about games. So that's one thing that drew me to Cave Bear, is knowing that it's a team of volunteers where we can grow together, learn together, fail together, and kind of see what went wrong and how to make it better, or what went right and where we got lucky. So I think it's really imperative that I've been able to kind of have a good community of people who are so awesome, so sweet, so dope, and we can all just work together on making fun games. And I love a good cozy game, so that also drew me in. And just the name alone, Cave Bear, I was like, I don't know what y'all are doing, but yes, sign me up. Like this sounds like a good thing. So yeah, it helps me with my goal of game design and knowing that we're communicating and we are really strong and passionate about what we're designing. And even if we don't know what we're doing, or we do know what we're doing, we can still kind of have our tribe and just, you know, be amongst each other through these trials. Advice I would give my past self is document everything. I just in general through life have a habit of keeping everything in my head and telling myself like, okay, I've got these 10 things I gotta do. I'm gonna go do them. And if I don't write it down, I'll forget. The team will ask me like, hey, what you're working on? I'm like, oh yeah, that thing I said 2 weeks ago that I actually forgot. I didn't write down. So just documenting everything. And I think it comes from a habit of my prior professional UX work where we were very much go, go, go. So I didn't write anything down because I just knew in my head all the things I had to do and when to present and all these things. So I think that's a terrible habit that I've carried with me into this. So just document everything so that if you forget, it's written down, other people can look at it and let you know like, oh, we're not going to work on this, we're not going to work on that. So shout out our producer, Alyssa, who documents everything and keeps me on track. So documentation. Have been many challenges. One of them being having to kind of change things after it's been locked in. So that was new for me because with UX outside of games, once we've had a team-wide meeting, my manager signed off on it, Dev has signed off on it, like it's locked, it's loaded, it's off to the next stage. So with this, we've had moments where we've reviewed wireframes, we've said, okay, like this is how it's going to look, this is how it's going to function. It works on a technical level, like, okay, great, we're going to move on to the next round. And then a couple of weeks later, we're like, oh, actually, scrap this, we're going to redo it. And then it's just like, okay, and you have to go back and redo it. So that has definitely been a challenge, but I've learned to take it in stride and know that it's for the betterment of the game because redoing it always comes out better than it was before. So I'm actually happy that we redo it because there are a lot of things I didn't like, and then getting a chance to redo it, I'm like, oh wait, this looks better, or this like functions better. So I'm glad that we got a chance to redo it. And then we've also had just trying to figure out scope and making sure we stay on track with our deadline. There's been the usual like game dev hurdles that we've jumped through, but I think we've done a good job of staying on track of things and going through it as a team and making sure that we're all happy with it, it works, and we're pushing it to the next stage to hopefully finalize it.